She stared at the acceptance letter for what felt like the 100th time. The words hadn't changed. Full scholarship. Dream university. Everything she'd worked for since she was 15 years old. But there was one problem. It was 3,000 miles away from home. Her younger brother knocked on the door and peeked in. "Mom's calling everyone for dinner," he said, noticing the paper in her hands. "Is that the letter?" She nodded, folding it quickly and tucking it into her desk drawer. Walking down the stairs felt heavier than usual. Her parents were already seated at the table, and the smell of her mother's cooking filled the small apartment. This was home. This was safety. This was everything she knew. "You've been quiet all week," her father said, passing her the rice. "Something on your mind?" She took a deep breath. This was it. "I got into the university," she said softly. "The one on the East Coast." Her mother's face lit up immediately. "That's wonderful. When did you find out?" "Monday. They're offering a full scholarship. Everything paid for." The excitement in her mother's eyes dimmed slightly. "East Coast. That's very far." "I know." She pushed food around her plate. "That's why I haven't said anything. I don't know if I should go." Her father set down his fork. "Why wouldn't you go? This is what you've been working toward. Because of you guys. Because of him." She glanced at her brother. "He's only 13. And Mom, you're working 2 jobs. Dad, your back has been bothering you. How can I just leave?" The table fell silent. Her brother stopped eating and looked between his parents and sister. Finally, her mother reached across and took her hand. "Sweetheart, we'll be fine. But what if something happens? What if you need me and I'm too far away to help?" Her father smiled, though his eyes were serious. "Then we'll figure it out. Just like we always have. Before you were born, just the 2 of us figured things out. We're stronger than you think. But I help with bills. I help with him." She gestured to her brother. "I help with groceries and cooking and everything. And we're grateful," her mother said. "But you're 22 years old. You've put your dreams on hold for 2 years already, working at that store to help us. It's time for you to live your own life." She felt tears threatening. "What if I fail? What if I get there and realize I can't handle it? That scholarship is for 2 years of graduate school. What if I'm not smart enough?" Her brother finally spoke up. "You're the smartest person I know. You helped me pass math when I was failing. You fix everyone's computer problems. You taught yourself 3 languages just by watching videos online." "That's different," she protested. "How?" her father asked. "You're afraid. That's natural. But fear isn't a good reason to give up on your dreams." Later that night, she sat on her bed with her laptop open. She'd been researching the university, the program, the city. It looked exciting, terrifying, impossible. The apartment she'd grown up in suddenly felt so small, but also so safe. She knew every crack in the ceiling, every sound the pipes made, every neighbor's routine. Her phone buzzed. It was her best friend. "Did you tell them yet?" "Yes," she typed back. "And they want me to go. I'm scared." "Of course you're scared. You'd be crazy not to be. But you'd also be crazy to waste this chance." She looked around her tiny room. The posters she'd put up in high school. The bookshelf overflowing with borrowed library books. The window that overlooked the parking lot. This room had been her whole world for so long. But maybe it was time for a bigger world. She opened her email and found the acceptance letter. At the bottom was a button. Accept offer. Her finger hovered over it. One click. One decision. Everything would change. Not tonight, she thought. She wasn't ready tonight. She closed the laptop and lay back on her bed. Sleep didn't come easily. Her mind raced with possibilities. New city. New people. New challenges. What if she got homesick? What if she couldn't make friends? What if the coursework was too hard? But another voice whispered too. What if it was amazing? What if she discovered things about herself she never knew? What if this was exactly what she needed? Morning came too quickly. She had to work at the store, her usual Saturday shift. The routine was comfortable. Scan items, smile at customers, restock shelves, repeat. Her coworker noticed she seemed distracted. "You all right?" he asked during their break. "Just thinking about the future," she said. "Heavy stuff for a Saturday morning." She laughed. "Yeah, I got accepted to a graduate program. Really good one. But it's far from home." "And you're not sure if you should go?" "Exactly." He nodded slowly. "I had a chance like that once. 10 years ago. Didn't take it. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had." His words stuck with her all day. 10 years from now, would she be standing in this same store, wondering what might have been? The thought made her chest tight. That evening, she took a walk around her neighborhood. The corner store where she'd bought candy as a kid. The park where she'd learned to ride a bike. The library where she'd spent countless afternoons. Everything was familiar. Everything was home. But home could be more than one place, couldn't it? She pulled out her phone and called the university's admission office. It went to voicemail. "Hi, this is calling about the graduate program acceptance. I have some questions about housing and the start date. Could someone call me back? Thank you." It wasn't a yes yet. But it wasn't a no either. It was a step forward. And maybe that's all she needed right now. One small step at a time. The phone call came back on Monday. A cheerful voice on the other end answered all her questions. Housing options. Program start date. Orientation schedule. With each answer, the possibility became more real. "We're excited to have you," the admissions counselor said. "Your application essay was one of the strongest we've seen. Your professors gave glowing recommendations." After hanging up, she sat quietly in her room. They were excited to have her. People she'd never met believed in her abilities. That should feel good. So why did her stomach still twist with anxiety? Her mother found her there an hour later. "You've been quiet since that phone call. Want to talk?" "I don't know if I'm making the right choice." Her mother sat beside her on the bed. "There's something I never told you. When I was your age, I had a chance to study abroad. A full year in another country. I said no because I was afraid. Afraid to leave my parents. Afraid to be alone. Afraid I wasn't good enough. You never mentioned that. Because I regretted it for years. I wondered what experiences I missed. What person I might have become." Her mother's eyes were distant. Remembering. "I don't want you to carry that same regret. But what if I fail? Then you fail. And you learn. And you come back home if you need to. We'll always be here." Her mother squeezed her hand. "But what if you succeed? What if you discover you're even stronger than you thought?" Over the next few days, she started preparing. Small things at first. Researching the city. Looking at apartments online. Reading about the program curriculum. Each step made it feel more possible. Her brother helped her sort through her belongings. "You're really going, aren't you?" he asked, watching her pack books into boxes. "I think so. Yeah, I'm going to miss you." His voice was quiet. She stopped packing and looked at him. "I'm going to miss you too. So much. But we can video call every week. And I'll come home for holidays." "It won't be the same." "No," she admitted. "It won't. But maybe different doesn't have to mean bad. Maybe it's just new." He nodded, trying to be brave. 13 years old and trying not to cry. She pulled him into a hug. "Hey, this means you get my room," she joked. "It's bigger than yours." That made him laugh a little. Work became harder. Telling her boss she'd be leaving in 6 weeks wasn't easy. He'd been good to her. Flexible with her schedule when she needed time for studying. "I'm happy for you," he said, though he looked disappointed. "You're too smart to be working retail forever anyway. We'll miss you around here." Her coworkers threw her a small goodbye party during a break. Cupcakes and cards and promises to stay in touch. One of them, An older woman who'd worked there for years pulled her aside. "Don't look back with regret," she said. "When opportunities come, take them. I played it safe my whole life. Safe is comfortable, but it's not living." Everyone seemed to have the same message. Take the chance. Don't live with regret. Trust yourself. But doubt still crept in during quiet moments. Late at night, scrolling through photos of her family, looking at the acceptance letter, and feeling the weight of expectation. What if she got there and realized she didn't belong? What if everyone else was smarter, more prepared, more deserving? Her father noticed her anxiety during dinner one night. "You're overthinking this," he said gently. "You always overthink. Because what if I'm making a huge mistake? Then it's your mistake to make. You're an adult. You get to choose your path now. Even if it's scary. I wish I could see the future. Know how it turns out," he smiled. "If we could see the future, we'd never do anything brave. Not knowing is part of the journey." She started saying goodbye to familiar places. The coffee shop where she'd studied for countless exams. The park where she'd had her first job interview. The library that had been her second home. Each place held memories, pieces of who she'd been. But who would she become in this new place? That question both terrified and excited her. 3 weeks before departure, reality hit hard. She was actually leaving. Actually moving across the country. Actually starting a graduate program at a prestigious university. The little girl from this small apartment was going to pursue her biggest dream. Her best friend came over to help her shop for things she'd need. "You need warm clothes," her friend said. "It gets cold there in winter." "I've never experienced real winter," she realized. "We don't get snow here." Another adventure, another first. This is exciting. Her friend's enthusiasm was contagious. Maybe this was exciting. Maybe the fear she felt was actually anticipation in disguise. They spent the afternoon planning, making lists, buying practical things like winter coats and rain boots. Her friend made everything feel like an adventure, instead of something scary. "You're going to do amazing things," her friend said while they got coffee. "I just know it. And I'm going to visit you. We'll explore that city together. Promise? Promise. You're not getting rid of me just because you're moving." That night, she finally did it. She opened her laptop, found the acceptance email, and clicked the button. Accept offer. A confirmation page appeared. "Congratulations. Welcome to our graduate program. We look forward to seeing you this fall." Her hands shook as she closed the laptop. It was done. She'd made the choice. No going back now, but instead of panic, she felt something else. Relief, excitement, maybe even a little bit of pride. She'd been brave. She'd chosen growth over comfort. She'd bet on herself. When she told her family at breakfast the next morning, her mother cried happy tears. Her father hugged her tight. Her brother high-fived her, trying to act cool but clearly proud of his big sister. "We're all so proud of you," her mother said, wiping her eyes. "You're going to do wonderful things." 2 weeks left. The countdown had begun. The morning she left felt surreal. Her suitcases stood by the door like soldiers ready for battle. Everything she'd need for the next few months, packed into 3 bags. Everything else would stay in boxes in her old room, waiting for her return during holidays. The drive to the airport was quiet. Her father focused on the road while her mother kept turning around to look at her from the passenger seat, as if memorizing her face. Her brother sat beside her, headphones in, pretending not to care. But she saw him wipe his eyes once when he thought no one was looking. Airport goodbyes are always hard. Her mother hugged her for a long time, whispering advice and encouragement. "Call us when you land. Eat regular meals. Don't forget to sleep. Make friends. Be safe." Her father's hug was shorter but just as meaningful. "We love you. We're proud of you. Now go show them what you're made of." Her brother's hug surprised her. He held on tight, finally letting his emotions show. "You better video call me," he said, voice cracking. "And bring me something cool when you visit." "I promise." Both things. Walking through security, she turned back one last time. They were all waving, 3 people who'd been her whole world. Then she stepped forward, into the unknown. The flight felt endless. 6 hours of thinking, doubting, wondering. The woman next to her noticed her nervousness during turbulence. "First time flying?" she asked kindly. "That obvious?" "A little. Where are you headed?" She explained about the graduate program, the scholarship, the big move. The woman listened with interest. "That's brave," the woman said. "I moved across country when I was your age too. Best decision I ever made." "Scariest, but best. Does the scared feeling ever go away?" "It changes. Becomes less about fear and more about excitement. You'll see." Landing in the new city felt like entering another world. The airport was huge. Modern, bustling. People rushed past speaking different languages, heading to destinations she'd only read about. This was home now. This massive, overwhelming, exciting place. Getting to the university housing took 2 trains and a bus. She checked her phone's map constantly, terrified of getting lost. But she made it, dragging her suitcases up to a small apartment she'd share with another graduate student. Her roommate was already there, unpacking. A friendly person with warm smile and kind eyes. "You must be my new roommate. I'm so glad you're here." This place felt too quiet by myself. They talked while unpacking. Her roommate was also starting the graduate program, but in a different department. Originally from another state. Also nervous. Also excited. Also wondering if they'd made the right choice. "At least we're questioning our life choices together," her roommate joked. That first night in the new apartment was strange. The sounds were different. Traffic noise instead of her brother's music through the walls. Sirens in the distance instead of her neighbor's television. The bed felt wrong. The pillow smelled unfamiliar. Everything was new and nothing was home. She video called her family before bed. Seeing their faces on the small screen made her chest ache. "How is it?" her mother asked eagerly. "Different. Big. A little scary. But my roommate seems nice. See? Already making friends," her father said proudly. Her brother showed her his room, the one that used to be hers. He'd already moved his things in. "Thanks for the bigger room," he said, trying to act casual about missing her. After hanging up, she lay in the unfamiliar bed, staring at the unfamiliar ceiling. What had she done? Was she crazy for leaving everything she knew? But morning brought new perspective. Her roommate made breakfast, and they explored the campus together. The university was beautiful. Old brick buildings mixed with modern glass structures. Students everywhere, rushing to classes with coffee cups and backpacks. Gardens and quads and libraries that looked like castles. "This is incredible," she breathed, standing in the main quad. "Right? We actually get to study here," her roommate said, equally amazed. Orientation week was overwhelming. Meeting professors, touring facilities, learning about resources, meeting other students. Everyone seemed so smart, so accomplished, so confident. She felt like an imposter who'd somehow slipped through. During a mixer, she met other first-year graduate students. They all shared the same nervous energy. One student admitted, "I keep waiting for someone to realize they made a mistake accepting me." She met other first-year graduate. She met other first-year graduate students. She met other first-year graduate students. She met other first-year graduate students. She met other first-year. "Me too," another person agreed. "I feel like everyone else belongs here except me." She laughed with relief. "I thought I was the only one feeling that way." They weren't alone in their doubts. They were all scared, all questioning themselves, all trying to figure out if they belonged. Somehow, knowing others felt the same made it easier. Classes started the following week. The first day, she sat in a lecture hall, listening to a professor discuss theories she'd only read about in books. This was real. This was happening. She was actually here, in this room, learning from experts in the field. The coursework was intense. Reading lists that seemed impossible to finish. Assignments that challenged everything she thought she knew. Late nights in the library, surrounded by other stressed students clutching coffee cups. But there were good moments too. A professor who praised her contribution during discussion. A study group that formed naturally with classmates. A breakthrough while working on a difficult problem. Small victories that reminded her why she'd come. Her roommate became a real friend. They cooked together, complained about assignments together, explored the city together, finding affordable restaurants, discovering hidden bookstores, learning which coffee shop had the best Wi-Fi. "I'm glad you're my roommate," she told her friend one evening while they studied. "Same, I don't think I could handle all this stress alone." She video called home every Sunday. Her brother updated her on school drama. Her mother shared neighborhood gossip. Her father asked about her classes. These calls became the anchor that kept her connected to where she'd come from. "You sound happy," her mother observed one call. Tired, but happy. Was she happy? She thought about it after hanging up. Yes. Exhausted, overwhelmed, constantly questioning herself. But underneath it all, happy, growing, learning, becoming someone new, while staying true to who she'd always been. 1 month in, she realized something important. She'd stopped looking at flights home every day, stopped wondering if she'd made a mistake. This city, this university, this life, it was starting to feel like hers. The scared feeling hadn't disappeared. But like the woman on the plane had said, it had changed. Now it felt more like anticipation. What would she learn next? What would she discover? What would she become? She was finding out, one day at a time. 3 months into the program, everything changed. Not in a dramatic way, but quietly, like seasons shifting. She woke up one morning and realized she'd stopped thinking of her apartment as temporary. The coffee shop on the corner knew her order. The route to campus had become automatic. She had favorite spots in the library, preferred seats in lecture halls, inside jokes with classmates. Somewhere along the way, without noticing exactly when, this place had become home too. But then came the phone call that shook everything. Her mother's voice sounded strange. "Too careful. Don't panic. But your father's in the hospital." His back gave out completely. "They're running tests." Her heart dropped. "What kind of tests? Is he okay? Should I come home?" I, I, he's stable. They think it's a herniated disc. He'll need surgery probably. But he made me promise to tell you not to come home. He doesn't want you missing classes." After hanging up, she sat frozen. Her roommate found her that way 20 minutes later, staring at nothing. "What happened?" she explained through tears. Her father, always so strong, was hurt. And she was 3,000 miles away, useless. "You should go," her roommate said immediately. Family comes first. But could she? Midterms were next week. A major paper was due. Group projects depended on her. If she left now, she'd fall behind. Might not catch up. Everything she'd worked for could unravel. She called her mother back. "I'm booking a flight. I need to be there." "Sweetheart, no. Your father was very clear. He'll be fine. The surgery is routine. You stay focused on school." "How can I focus knowing he's hurt?" "Because that's what he wants. He's so proud of you being there. Don't let him down by giving up now." That night was the longest of her life. She tried to study but couldn't focus. Every phone buzz made her jump, terrified of bad news. Her roommate sat with her, offering quiet support. The next day brought better news. Her father's surgery was scheduled. The doctors were optimistic. He'd need physical therapy afterward. But full recovery was expected. "See?" her mother said on video call. "Everything's going to be fine. Your father wants to see you during winter break. Healthy and walking. That's his motivation for physical therapy." "I feel so helpless being here." "You're not helpless. You're doing what we wanted you to do. You're building your future. That makes us happy." She threw herself into work as a distraction. Studied until her eyes hurt. Finished the paper days early. Prepared thoroughly for midterms. If she couldn't be there physically, at least she could make them proud academically. Her professors noticed her extra effort. One pulled her aside after class. "Your recent work has been exceptional. I wanted you to know, I'm recommending you for a research assistant position next semester." "Really?" The opportunity was huge. Paid position. Valuable experience. Exactly what she needed for her career goals. "Really? You have a natural curiosity and work ethic we don't see often. You belong here." Trying, those words carried her through the difficult weeks. She belonged here. Even when doubt crept in. Even when homesickness hurt. She belonged. Her brother helped more than he knew. He sent her funny videos every day, memes that made her laugh, updates about his life. Once, he video called just to show her he'd gotten an A on his math test. "You helped me understand this stuff," he said proudly. Even from far away, her father's recovery progressed slowly but steadily. Video calls showed him doing physical therapy exercises, making jokes about feeling old. "When you come home for winter break, I'll be dancing," he promised. Winter break felt both far away and too close. Part of her couldn't wait to see her family. Another part worried about leaving. About breaking the rhythm she'd built. But something else was happening too. She was making real connections here. The study group had become genuine friends. They got dinner together, celebrated small victories, supported each other through stress. When one group member had a family emergency, they all pitched in to help with assignments. "This is what community feels like," her roommate observed. "We're building something real here." One evening, she got invited to a professor's research lab. He wanted to show her a project. See if she'd be interested in contributing. Walking through that lab, seeing equipment she'd only read about, discussing ideas with actual researchers, she felt something click into place. This was why she'd come. Not just for classes and grades, but for this. To be part of something bigger. To contribute to knowledge. To grow beyond what she'd imagined possible. "You have good instincts," the professor told her. "I think you'll do important work someday." Important work. Her. The girl from the small apartment who'd almost been too scared to leave home. She called her parents that night, bursting with news about the research opportunity. Her father answered, walking without help now. "I knew you'd thrive there," he said. "From the moment you were born, I knew you were meant for big things." "I was so scared," she admitted. "Part of me still is. Fear means you care, means it matters. But don't let fear make you small. You're capable of so much more than you know." As the semester wound down, she reflected on how much had changed. She'd survived her first round of graduate school exams. Made friends in a new city. Found her place in a community, proved to herself she could handle being far from home. The scared girl who'd left 3 months ago felt like a different person. She was still that girl, but also more. Stronger. Braver. More confident in her abilities. Her roommate was planning a small celebration for surviving first semester. "We made it! That deserves recognition." They invited their study group. Cooked too much food. Laughed about stressful moments that seemed funny now. Shared stories about their worst study session disasters. Made plans for next semester. "Remember when you thought you didn't belong here?" One friend teased her gently. "I still think that sometimes," she admitted. "We all do. But we're wrong. We all belong. We earned our place." Packing for winter break felt different than packing to leave home had felt. Now she was packing to visit home temporarily, excited to see her family but knowing she'd return here. This city had become part of her story too. The night before her flight, she stood at her apartment window, looking at the city lights. Somewhere out there was the coffee shop that knew her order. The library where she'd had her first breakthrough. The lecture hall where she'd first felt like a real scholar. "Ready to go home?" her roommate asked. She smiled. "Ready to visit home, but I'm coming back. This is home too now." And that felt exactly right. Walking into her family's apartment felt like stepping into a memory. Everything was exactly as she'd left it. but somehow different. Smaller, maybe, or maybe she was just seeing it with new eyes. Her brother tackled her with a hug the moment she stepped through the door. He'd grown. When had that happened? He was almost as tall as her now. "You're huge," she laughed. "You're different," he observed. "You look older or something." Her mother appeared from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel, eyes already watering. The hug lasted forever, her mother holding on like she might disappear again. "Let me look at you," her mother said, pulling back. "You look good." "Tired, but good." "Are you eating enough?" "Yes, Mom, I'm eating." Her father came out more slowly, still careful with his movements. But he was walking, standing straight, smiling wide. They hugged carefully, and she felt him trembling slightly. "I'm so glad you're home," he whispered. That first dinner together was loud and chaotic and perfect. Everyone talking at once, sharing stories, laughing. Her brother told elaborate stories about school drama. Her mother caught her up on all the neighborhood gossip. Her father mostly just smiled, watching his family together again. "Tell us everything," her mother insisted. "What's the city like? Your classes? Your friends?" She talked for hours. About the campus, the research lab, her study group, her roommate. About feeling scared and lost at first, then gradually finding her way. About late nights in the library and breakthroughs that made all the stress worthwhile. "You sound so grown up," her mother said, eyes misty again. "I feel grown up. Different than before." "Good different?" her father asked. She thought about it. "Yeah, good different. Scary different sometimes, but good." Over the next few days, she fell back into old rhythms. Coffee at her old favorite shop, walking through familiar neighborhoods, seeing old friends who'd stayed local. But she noticed something strange. The city that used to feel like her whole world now felt smaller. Not in a bad way. Just different. Like she'd expanded to fit a bigger space. Her best friend noticed it during coffee. "You've changed. Not bad. Just different. More confident, maybe." "I don't feel confident. I still doubt myself constantly." "But you're doing it anyway." That's what confidence really is. Not absence of fear. Just doing the thing despite the fear. She helped her father with his physical therapy exercises. Watched him struggle and persist. He'd always been strong. But this was different. This was courage. Rebuilding yourself after breaking down. "I'm proud of you," she told him during one session. "I'm proud of you," he replied. "For taking that leap. For not letting fear stop you. You taught me something. I taught you that it's never too late to be brave. If you can leave everything you know at 22, I can learn to walk properly again at 55. Her brother asked her questions constantly. About university life, about being independent, about her future plans. She realized he was looking up to her, seeing possibilities for his own future. "Do you think I could do something like that someday?" he asked one evening. "Are you kidding? You're smarter than I was at your age. You can do anything you want." "But I'm scared I'm not smart enough," she laughed. "I tell myself that every single day. Everyone does. The secret is doing it anyway." Christmas came and went in a blur of family time and good food. She helped her mother cook traditional meals, played video games with her brother, watched old movies with her father. Normal things. Family things. Things she'd missed desperately but had learned to live without. But she also missed her other life. Her roommate sent photos of snow in the city. Her study group had a video call to discuss reading for next semester. The research lab professor emailed about starting a new project. That life was still there, waiting for her return. 2 days before flying back, her father asked her to take a walk with him. His physical therapy had progressed well. He could walk almost normally now, just a slight stiffness remaining. They walked to the park where she'd played as a child, sat on the same bench where he'd pushed her on swings years ago. "I need to tell you something," he said. "When you first told us about that scholarship, about leaving, I was terrified. You were? You seemed so supportive." "I was supportive because it was the right thing. But inside, I was scared. Scared something would happen to you. Scared you'd struggle. Scared you'd need us, and we'd be too far to help. He paused. Scared you'd succeed and not need us anymore. Dad, I'll always need you. I know that now. But I needed to learn it. Needed to see you fly and realize you could come back to visit. That distance doesn't end family. It just changes it. My accident helped me understand something else, he continued. You being there, focusing on school instead of rushing home, that was hard. But it was right. You're building a life. You can't drop everything every time something happens here. We have to be strong enough to let you live your own story. But I hated being so far when you were hurt. I know. But you stayed focused. You trusted us to handle it. That takes strength. From all of us. They sat quietly, watching kids play in the park. Different kids, new families, but the same park. Life moving forward while some things stayed the same. I'm scared to go back, she admitted. Next semester looks even harder. More expectations now. What if I fail? Then you fail. And you learn. And you try again. That's how life works. But I don't think you'll fail. You're tougher. Then you know. The last dinner with her family was bittersweet. Her mother cooked all her favorite foods. Her brother gave her a gift. A keychain with a photo of their family. Her father made a toast. To our daughter. Our brave, brilliant, sometimes too worried about everything daughter. May this next semester bring you growth, challenges, and joy. We're proud of you. Always. At the airport the next morning, the goodbyes were easier this time. Still hard, but different. They'd survived her being gone. Proven they could handle the distance. Learned that love doesn't shrink with miles. See you in spring? Her brother asked. Definitely. And you better keep those grades up. Only if you keep video calling to help with math. Deal. Her mother hugged her tight. Remember to eat. Sleep. Call us. We love you. I love you too. All of you. Flying back felt different than flying away had felt. She wasn't running toward something unknown. She was returning to a life she'd built, to friends waiting for her, to projects she wanted to finish, to a version of herself she was still becoming. Her roommate picked her up from the airport. Welcome home. How was the visit? Perfect. Hard to leave, but perfect. Ready for next semester? She thought about the research project waiting. The advanced classes she'd registered for. The goals she'd set for herself. The person she was working to become. Yeah, I'm ready. Their apartment felt welcoming when they returned. Her room exactly as she'd left it. Her books waiting on the shelf. Her desk ready for new work. This space she'd created. This life she'd chosen. She unpacked while video calling her family, showing them she'd arrived safely. Her brother was already in her old room, which didn't hurt as much as she'd expected. Everything was as it should be. That night, lying in her own bed in her own room, she reflected on everything. 6 months ago she'd been terrified to leave, convinced she'd fail, sure she'd made a mistake, but she'd survived. More than survived. She'd grown. Made friends. Discovered capabilities she hadn't known she possessed. Learned that home could be 2 places at once. That courage meant being scared and doing it anyway. The scared girl who'd left was still part of her. Probably always would be. But now she was also the brave girl who'd stayed. Who'd pushed through doubt. Who'd built a new life while keeping the old one close to her heart. Her phone buzzed. A message from her father. Proud of you. Always. Now go be brilliant. She smiled in the darkness. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. More moments of doubt. Harder classes. Higher expectations. But she'd handle it. One day at a time. One small, brave choice after another. Because that's what she'd learned. Bravery wasn't the absence of fear. It was feeling the fear and choosing to grow anyway. She'd locked no doors behind her. She'd simply opened new ones. And behind each door waited possibility. Discovery. Growth. a future she was writing herself. One brave decision at a time. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything.